Hello and welcome back for another Torah Tuesday. We are working our way through the book of Exodus and examining the different parts of the tabernacle. Last week we talked about the table of God's presence, the table of the presence, or the table of the bread, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the holy place now, where it's going to sit across from the menorah. And today we're going to talk about the menorah and what it represents and how it was styled. I'm Dr. Carmen Imes, Associate Professor of Old Testament at Biola University, and today I'm going to read from my own translation from the Hebrew, starting in Exodus 25, verse 31. You shall make a menorah of pure gold. Of hammered work the menorah shall be made. Its base and its stalk, its cups, its buds, and its flowers shall emerge from it. 6 stalks going out from its sides, 3 stalks of the menorah from its one side, and 3 stalks of the menorah from its second side, 3 cups shaped like almond blossoms on one stalk, a bud and a flower, and 3 cups shaped like almond blossoms on the other stalk, a bud and a flower, and so on, for the 6 stalks going out from the menorah. And on the menorah 4 cups shaped like almond blossoms, its buds and its flowers, a bud beneath 2 of its stalks, and a bud beneath 2 of its stalks, and a bud beneath 2 of its stalks, for the 6 stalks going out from the menorah. Their buds and their stalks shall emerge from it, all of it one beaten work of pure gold. You shall make it 7 lamps, and it shall elevate its lamps, and cause it to shine upon the area in front of it. Its wick trimmers and its trays of pure gold. Of 75 pounds of pure gold make it with all these accessories. Now see that you make them by their pattern that you were shown on the mountain. Okay, there's a lot of instructions here and a lot of mystery about how these 6 stalks, 3 on each side of the center stalk, are to be made. This is the base or thigh of the menorah. We don't know how tall the overall lampstand was supposed to be. We don't know whether it was flat like this or whether it was, more three-dimensional with the branches going out in different directions. I do tend to think that flat is what would have worked best in that enclosed space in the tabernacle. The design is not very specific in terms of its overall dimensions. They're making it out of hammered pure gold. And as we talked about before, pure gold would mean it's unalloyed. They haven't added any silver or copper to it to strengthen it or make it shinier or whatever. We're also not told how they would have carried it. It has no loops or poles in order to carry it. It just gets wrapped later with some of the tabernacle curtains. And it's made out of 75 pounds of consecrated gold. That still doesn't tell us kind of how to make each part of it. Now, for those of us who are living in a modern world and not using ancient lamps, that'd be all of us, it's worth explaining that lamps in the ancient world were small receptacles about the size of a hand that held oil, and then they would have a wick coming up out of the oil that they would light. So kind of like a liquid candle, if you can imagine a candle that's not solid, but just liquid. And so on the tops of each of these stalks would be a receptacle for pure beaten olive oil with a wick coming out that would be burning. And the light is all supposed to be cast to the front, which would mean the light would be landing on the table where the bread is laid out in the presence of God. It's supposed to come with wick trimmers or maybe tongs. It's a little hard to know what these technical terms mean. And trays and pans, and we don't know what all of these entail or exactly what they were used for or where they were stored. Here are some of the most fun things I learned as I was studying it. First of all, the botanical terms for the bases and the petals and the calyxes or buds. All of these botanical terms used for the menorah are Egyptian terms. Dr. Richard Averbeck notes that these are Egyptian words that are being borrowed by the Bible, and that makes sense because they're coming out of Egypt and they would have learned Egyptian words for the natural world around them, the things that they saw. The style of the menorah fits really well in the late Bronze Age, according to Dr. Carol Myers, who wrote her whole dissertation on the menorah and how it compares with other lampstands from ancient times. The almond tree in particular is significant because the almond tree was well loved in Egypt, and it often appeared in tombs as a symbol of life. So almond trees are the first ones to blossom in the spring. So to put them in the tomb is like showing hope for the afterlife. So that's significant. And I think if we think in a biblical context, it's significant that there is a tree, a flowering, fruit-bearing tree inside the dwelling place of Yahweh, inside Yahweh's tent, because it reminds us of the Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve lost access to the tree of life. And if this tree indeed symbolizes life, and now the bread of the presence is being set out, it's like they symbolically have access to the presence of God again and access to life. That's really the biggest thing about the tabernacle that I think we fail to appreciate. These chapters might seem kind of tedious, maybe irrelevant. I'm not going to build this structure, but they're super important in terms of biblical theology, because as Adam and Eve rebel against God, they lose access to the garden and to the presence of God. And the tabernacle is God reestablishing his presence among his people. And there's lots of garden imagery in the tabernacle. And this is the clearest example. The menorah is the clearest example of garden because it's a tree. We'll also have pomegranates on the high priest's robe. We'll see that there's like the sparkle of gold embroidery in the tent of meeting, and the smell of incense and the use of precious stones, which are associated with Eden. So there are other kind of garden-like pieces, but this one is the most resonant with the Garden of Eden, and so it's significant. It's also possible that we're supposed to understand a word play. The word in Hebrew for an almond tree is shaked, and it's the same consonants as the word shakad, which means to be watchful. And so as they light the lamps of this menorah in the dwelling of Yahweh, it's a way of illustrating or demonstrating Yahweh's watchfulness over his people, which is just beautiful, his watchful presence among them. So I hope that's encouraging to you, and I hope it helps you understand what's going on inside this tent. Next week, come back and we will talk about the building of the tent itself. We'll begin chapter 26. Until then, have a great week.